Consensus is in, and by all accounts, Solo: A Star Wars Story is the bomb. Wait, is that right? My mistake. Solo: A Star Wars Story is a bomb. Oh. Solo: A Star Wars Story was directed, for the most part, by Ron Howard and stars Alden Ehrenreich as a young Han Solo. The film follows Han as he meets Chewbacca, is introduced to Lando Calrissian, and takes his first steps aboard the Millennium Falcon. This has been described as an origin story, however I don't entirely agree with that description, which we'll get into a little later. So this film did have a couple of hiccups from day one, including directors Christopher Miller and Phil Lord departing from the project, citing creative differences with Lucasfilm and writers Jonathan and Lawrence Kasdan, as well as an acting coach being brought in to improve Alden Ehrenreich's performance. And these problems likely did contribute to what this film ended up being, which, to use a term that's probably a little overused in film evaluation, is meh. Not terrible, but not good either. The performances are fine, the script is okay. Meh. Let's talk about the story. This film follows Han while he goes about his life. While serving in Space Army, he meets a group of thieves and embarks on a mission with them to steal a whole bunch of this really expensive hyperspace fuel called coaxium. He intends on using the money that he gets from the theft to buy a ship and fly back to his home planet of Corellia in order to save the love of his life, Kira, played by Emilia Clarke. Along the way, we see how Han and Chewie became friends, and also how he got to own the Millennium Falcon. Here is problem number one with the film. This story adds nothing to the character of Han or the Star Wars franchise. This is why I don't consider it a true origin story. To me, an origin story is the story of how somebody came to be the way that they are and the events that shaped that. Not only do I think that we have a pretty good understanding of who Han is as a character from the Star Wars films to date, this movie also adds no depth to him at all. There is zero character arc. Nada. Nil. When I left this movie, I asked my friend, okay, so what actually is this the story of? The story of how Han met Chewie, because that lasted like 5 minutes, or the story of... The second thing I noticed about this film is it's not very funny. Light-hearted in parts, sure, but not funny, which is weird for a Star Wars film. I loved the original Star Wars films, didn't care for the next three, enjoyed The Force Awakens and hated The Last Jedi, but the common thread amongst all these movies is that there's some great humour in them, and the majority of these moments is driven by characters' individual quirks and great dialogue. The dialogue in Solo is bland. It is like cooked pasta without the sauce. Just people saying things, talking, nothing more, nothing less. The characters as well, I didn't mind Alden Ehrenreich as Han. He was kind of cute and charismatic, but Woody Harrelson and Emilia Clarke's characters were pretty unmemorable, which is a bit of a concern given that they are the two lead supporting characters. The one character who did have a little bit of pizzazz was Lando Calrissian, played by Donald Glover. Trust Donald Glover to be the best thing in an average movie. That boy has got the Midas touch. I do want to talk about the directing and the cinematography because this is not a pretty movie. There are heaps of really dark scenes and this weird backlighting effect that's used throughout the film, which causes all of the characters to be kind of shadowy from the front, as well as a very murky colour palette that consists of a lot of brown. Lots of brown. As I said earlier in this video, Solo isn't a terrible movie. I didn't hate it. It's just very, very average. I'm going to give Solo: A Star Wars Story a 5.5 out of 10. I would have given it a 5 because that is right down the middle, but I had to award a bonus half point for, firstly for Alden Ehrenreich's performance as Han because it was actually okay, but also just for the fact that Donald Glover is in this film. I love him. That's it from me today, guys, but I'd love to know what your thoughts are on Solo: A Star Wars Story. I'd actually be interested to find somebody who loved this film and just understand why. So if that's you, pop your comments in the comment section below. I did watch another Ron Howard treat this weekend, which was Arrested Development Season 5 Part 1. I'll have a video up for that on my channel shortly, so keep an eye out for that one. Before I go, just a quick shout out to a couple of YouTubers who have reached out just to say hi, or to chat movies or share advice about the channel, which is so awesome. awesome. So a big thank you to Cynic Snacks, Backyard Productions, Made Up Universe, Christian's Movie Reviews, and a bunch of others. You guys are so rad. I'll link all of their channels in the description below. Make sure you head on over there and check those guys out. That's everything from me today though, guys. Thanks as always for watching. You guys are awesome. I will see you here for the next one.